There we go. That should have fixed it. Yes, it seems that, what is it? The default mic option keeps switching up. I've also decided to set a loop of myself on this screen instead of just having it be a static image. Bit more dynamic. Alright. I was also having some issues before I started the stream where the, the drawing pad was not one-to-one, so I had to reinstall all of the drivers, because it was acting as a touchpad, so if I moved my mouse, it would stay in the same spot. But fortunately, it's working again. Alright. So I started this with no real plan as to what I was actually going to do. I had the thought of doing sketches and practice drawing, but I never actually had any ideas on what to draw. So I'm just going to come back in with a pose sketch, and then I'm going to refine that into slightly more finished. My computer's only 2 years old at this point. Not very old, but it was also budget when I bought it, so... Nothing high-end, specifically. And also thanks for the bits as well. I noticed that pre-stream coming in. Alright. So, as for what I'm going to be working on, let's see. I've mentioned this. Maybe it's possible. I feel like it's probably because I just unplug and replug it in every now and then without ejecting the USB properly. I'm fairly careless with technology. But my thought so far was to, as I've said a couple of times before in previous streams and on Twitter, I got into VTubing through Hololive, and my favorite member is Ninomai Inanis. So I was planning on just doing a quick sketch of her for the first part of the stream, and then afterwards, if more people are here by that time, I'll talk about my schedule and plans moving forwards. But like I've done before, I'm going to be using Katsushika Hokusai, technically Oi Hokusai, as, what is it? Inspiration for the pose, because they're drawn by the same artist. So I'm going to just get the pose from this and then move on to, let's see, fixing it up and okay, yeah, don't know much about Hololive. So how did you get into this then? What was the impetus for you? Well, the pen is tracking, but it's not actually writing. Let's see. Well then, I guess I'll just do some troubleshooting. Streaming IRL and it was too much. Pressure is responding. I'm doing pressure tests and that's fine. Is it the pen? Oh, I'm drawing white. Interesting. I suppose there's any number of ways to get into VTubing. Yes. I've always been fairly interested in content creation. But I never, did anything with it. I've had ideas over the years. The position of the neck doesn't seem right. Yes. Yes, there was actually a period of time. There was a period of time immediately after the first gen of Hololive English debuting where I watched every single stream that came out of Hololive English. And that was very difficult to maintain. But at this point, I specifically only go out of my way to watch Ina's streams. Which is fairly unfortunate since we stream at incredibly similar times. Typically only a few hours difference. So, that's been somewhat annoying to maintain. See, it was also just fairly difficult on my end as well. And I have a lot more things to do now. That was before I started streaming, obviously. So, streaming, in addition to taking classes, has severely dampened my ability to catch a lot of streams. I think the primary reason that I enjoy Ina's content so much, this is going to sound horribly narcissistic, but we're very similar streamers, I find. Because it was Ina's content that primarily inspired me to start VTubing in the first place, because I figured that, you know, if her content could work the way that it does, then perhaps I could also stream despite the fact that I'm fairly low energy. I'm also now noticing that all of my key bindings have been reset. So the undo button on my drawing tablet isn't working. So I'll have to fix that at some point. I can make do without it for now. Let's see. How to make fingers three-dimensional. Let's see. Started streaming because another one of your... I see. Yes, motivation comes in many forms. Okay. I'm just taking a look at how the fingers are positioned and how not to make them look like flat sheets of paper. Yeah, that's what I thought. Let's see. So if I directly do the same thing, and it's something like this. There's shading here, and shading here. And I suppose fingernails are also a fairly good indicator for where the top of the finger is. See. I also have a fair amount. Okay, I'm actually just going to rebind the undo button on my tablet now. Because for some reason it's set by default to Control Alt Z. There we go. Palm is a bit long. I did press apply, didn't I? Okay, there we go. Now it's undoing properly. Yeah. Art's difficult, you know? I think proportions are probably my current difficulty. I think I also tend to make angles and turns too extreme. Alright. That finger looks boneless. Yeah. I'm also not starting at the beginning of art. I am throwing myself into the deep end. And I'm doing it almost entirely self-taught as well. So, It makes sense that my progress is fairly slow. Did I say depend or deep end? I'm fairly sure I said deep end. I don't know that I have much of an accent that would combine those words. Oh, the turn of phrase thrown into the deep end? Yeah. So it's just a turn of speech. It means to do something incredibly difficult while doing no preparation beforehand. As if you were thrown into the deep end of a pool without learning how to swim first. Oh, I mean, I'm doing complicated poses and a fully rendered art without doing any forms of practice at all. Well, I suppose in its own way this is some form of practice. Yeah, that's, turns of phrase and colloquialisms are also main reasons that I have for being interested in languages. This is something that I've tweeted about, and I've mentioned in stream a couple of times, but I'm very interested in linguistics, and one of the main reasons for that is colloquialisms. They are entirely dependent on your culture, and they almost never translate well. For instance, thrown into the deep end. It's a common turn of phrase in English, but in other languages it might not make very much sense. I find that very interesting. Okay. Now, that's probably one of the better hands that I've ever drawn. It's not great. Yeah. Researcher asks, yes. Yes, it's very interesting. I'm trying to, because one of the things that I did used to do was, whenever I ran into a colloquialism that I wasn't aware of, I would look it up and try and figure out the history behind it and the reasons why that sort of phrase exists. I did post about this. I talked about this on Twitter, I think it was only a couple of days ago, but the Japanese www for laughing. I don't know if you saw that. I don't remember who liked that post. It was one of my more popular etymology posts, which makes sense because it's a subject matter that a lot of people are fairly interested in. Let's see. Do I want to have the giant paintbrush in the final image? Forget things super fast. Yes. So the basic idea behind it is that the Japanese word for laughter is warai, which isn't very easy to type in online games and such, especially in overseas chat rooms, which is where it was primarily used in online games. So instead, what they would do is type in the letter W, because it's the first letter of Warai. And then, if you want to express that you are laughing a lot, you type in a lot of W's. And then, because that is also still a fairly long process, it was also shortened further, because lots of W's in a row looks like a field of grass. They used the kanji for grass, which is kusa, and that is basically the Japanese equivalent of LOL in English. And I find things like that fascinating, which is why I like studying linguistics. Yes, like I said, it's a return to form. I'm not a person that celebrates things much, so I wasn't going to make a big deal about my coming back from a break. Although I did plan on implementing some stuff that I thought about while I was gone. Alright. Which is where tweeting about my stream beforehand, because I realized that just giving the 1 hour notice gave people plenty of time to forget about what I was doing. This hand looks absolutely deformed. I suppose that's what happened when you copy the shape without understanding the form. Okay. I'm just going to try and draw a hand. Without considering the reference image. Okay. I'm actually going to rotate my canvas. I never do this. Oop. Okay, so I'm just going to do this like I would. Okay, I'm just going to get the full, let's see. Okay, I think I just want to draw all of the fingers as they would be in this case. Okay, so index and middle finger are going to be, let's see, there's going to be a joint, extra joint further along. I suppose I can separate those fingers a little bit, just to make it a bit more dynamic. Looking at it like this, let's see. Palm should probably be like that. I think I have it a bit too flat there. I'll show the curve of the palm. It seems about right. I think I'm gonna have to fix this wrist part here, because it's joining in a bit awkwardly. Okay. Now if I just add the rest of that there and rotate myself back to 0. There we go. Drawing a hand without reference is apparently a little bit easier. Oh, feel free to give pointers. After all, I see. The primary reason that I'm doing this is to learn. Alright. So then I'll just move on to lower body then. Let's see. Okay. I'm trying to think how much further down the torso goes. Because at this point I'm just drawing legs that are pointing straight downwards. They're primarily obscured, which is a bit of a pain to draw, but that's fine. Okay, so what is one leg joint? How do hips work? Okay, so let's see. Bit of curve to the hips. Yeah, that's a good point. Let's see, let me bring up the reference image for the character that is going to be placed over this. Oh, here we go. Yeah, that is the shape there. Okay. I wasn't going to bring this over until a bit later, but getting the oh god. I've just looked at my drawing and the head is absolutely massive. Yeah, even proportionally, I think that's a bit much. Okay. Yeah, I think I may have also made the torso a bit too wide. I suppose this style of drawing does have fairly large heads. Okay. I've just realized that this is all on the wrong layer. That's fine. I can just cut it onto its own layer. There we go. Yeah, no, I can just move it onto its own layer fairly easily. I've done that plenty of times before. Okay, so we have torso. From here, go outwards for the hips. Quick sketch, more refined on... yeah. That's sort of what I do. Okay. That's fine. Like I said, I'm here to learn. Okay, and from the position, the chest and overall body is turned slightly to her right. So, means that this leg might be slightly in front. It's difficult to tell. Like I said, I'm here to learn, and I tend... yeah, I tend to learn fairly well. Okay, let's see, I think the calf might be, or not the calf, but the thigh. Let's see, what was the proportional length? Maybe a bit longer. Yeah, most of the knowledge that I'm going off of is just based on watching other people draw. And looking at art. So, it's not going to be perfect. Alright, and here's the point where I pretend like feet don't exist. I suppose drawing her with her legs close together is very off-model, given that she has the widest stance I've ever seen on an official artwork. It's actually ludicrous. If you draw a straight line up from where her feet are, they're so far out from her shoulders. It is a ridiculously wide stance. I'm wondering what the decision-making process was on that. It must be. Alright, so I think that's about it for the first layer of sketching. So now I can attempt a more refined version of this. So I should probably draw in just face lines on this one first, though. So see, it's very fortunately a fairly straightforward looking face. Let's see, I think that eye line is too high. Should be around the center of the face here. And that shows the curve of the head. Sort of like that. Any tips or tricks that I'm messing up there, Aqua, that you can see? Or would it be too difficult to describe? Let's see, so this is where, let's see, Ina's facial features start being a bit more important. Just looking ever so slightly. Alright. That's probably fine. Okay. A lot of very complicated details in this. I may not finish it today. This may be a 2-episode stream. I don't think I'll go too much further on that. Like, that's behind should be slightly smaller. That makes sense. Slim everything down then. Let's see. So I suppose to do that I need to curve this portion in a bit faster. Let's see. Yeah, I need to make the curve of the calf more pronounced, I think. I think that's good. And I also have a little bit of a sketch there. Ah, hello, Melody. Shoulder on the right should be slightly higher than the left. It's probably also good advice. Yes, because of the angle. Let's see. Okay. I start erasing lines like that. Let's see. So this shoulder, let's see, does it move in front of the neck? Lie down for a while longer? Feel free. I will stop accosting you for art advice for the time being. Yes. I've not had homework in several years, but now that I am back in classes, it is starting up again. Fortunately, it's been fairly simple so far, but it's probably the thing I am least excited about coming back to school. Okay. Let's see. I have the angle of this arm a bit off. Let's see. I suppose it doesn't have to be perfectly matched. I don't think it's too much of an issue. Alright then. Moving onwards. Let's start detailing the sketch. Alright, so face shape. That's fine. Probably going to need to put shadow there. Although I suppose there's the very fluffy neck warmer on the kimono, so I can just go off of that. Okay. Now I can start adding details to this sketch, so. Bangs come just above the eyes. Squishy hair that comes down to around here. I suppose I should make this sketch slightly more transparent so that I can see what I'm properly working on. Let's see. Look at this. And the same on this side. Although on that side it's nearly matching up. Okay, and then I can just leave the rest of the... Nope. What have I done? Oh, I just drew a very light line. Okay. I can just leave the rest of the head blank as it's going to get filled with flowers soon. Okay. I can actually move this reference image closer so that I can have more direct comparisons at this point. So, time to sketch eyes, probably one of my weakest areas. Fortunately, this is fairly forwards facing. So I don't have to do anything crazy with angles. There we go. And then if I draw in the iris and the pupil to complete the eye, there we go. I think that's probably one of the better eyes that I've drawn. I can just do the same thing on the other side. It's a very gentle slope, very soft eyes. See, I am making that eye slightly smaller because it's on the further side of the head. Very slight nose. Small smile. Okay. Let's see if I hide the sketch. Maybe I made the further back eye slightly too small. I'm going to try scaling it up. Just a little bit. Okay. It's a bit of a loss of quality, but it's also just the sketch, so that's fine. Alright, that's fairly satisfying. Or not satisfying, but satisfactory, I think is what I meant to say. Right then. And then the rest of this is going to be Owie's clothes. So they have basically the same body type. You can't really tell that there's a difference because kimonos are very flattening. But other than that, I should probably just take reference from Owie's picture. Okay, is this... I suppose that's actually her shoulder there. Okay. So this image is actually, or not image, but this pose is a lot more further to the side than I thought it was. Because if I... let's see, were to track what's happening. Her neck is here, and her shoulder is here. Let's see, so then I suppose the other side of the neck would be there. And shoulder goes like that. Yeah, so this is a lot more sideways, because that would be the front of the chest here. And that arm goes behind the chest like that. Let's see. So do I, in this case, attempt to change the pose slightly to fit with that? If that's where the front of the chest is, then this is also where the side is. See, I don't think I am too locked in place by what I've already drawn. Let's see. Okay, I need to get everything back to just the base layer drawing. There we go. Ah, Naruto. Welcome. Let's see. I am doing another drawing in a similar style. I've done something like this before, where I'm taking the pose of Hokusai and drawing Ina in the clothes and pose because they are drawn by the same artist. Yes, I've done something similar before. This time I'm trying a little bit harder, because the last time it was just a sketch. Let's see. Because I put out the sketch in a fairly short period of time. It only took me... maybe an hour? Something fairly quick for artwork. This time I am trying a bit harder, getting details a bit more accurate. I have the pose a bit more flat because I didn't realize where, let's see, shoulders and the rest of body parts were. Right now I'm working on, let's see, secondary sketch. Let's see, I'm going to leave the hands alone for now because I put enough detail into them in the sketch that I feel like they are fine as is. Okay. Alright, also, I was using this to add in the clothing details. So, let's do that then. So that's where the sash comes in. Okay, I should probably erase the torso guiding lines that I put in so that I could better understand where the body was. So that I can better understand where the clothes are. Right, so let's see, Hokusai has straps. I think that are holding on a backpack or something similar. So those go under the arm. There's a very large obscuring flower there. Okay. So now I'm just going to, let's see, add the broad shapes of clothes. Let's move Ina slightly further away so that I have... Oh. I suppose I drew the face on the wrong layer. Well, that's its own layer now. Alright, back to drawing then. Very billowy clothing. It's hard to tell what is texture on these clothes and what are folds. So I think this is meant to be... Let's see, is this a long-sleeved kimono or is it a short-sleeved kimono that's had the sleeves pulled up? Because that seems like something that the character of Oi would do, is pull up the sleeves on her kimono. Okay. I did also definitely make the chest far too broad. But I am fairly committed to it, so that's unfortunate. Let's just add some details. I'm just sort of entering the stage where I'm procrastinating making any broad sweeping changes. Okay, I think I am going to change the posture of the arm. I'll just copy and move that hand. I did fairly well with it. Okay, and then the sleeve comes here, and then around to the other side of the arm. Okay, and then I can just drag the hand on top of the end of that arm. Okay, what is happening with the shoulder there? It's very hard to tell because there are lots of broad shapes. I suppose I can also use that to my advantage to cover up any difficult areas of the drawing. Okay. Let's just hide the sketch for now. How does this look? Let's see. There's probably some details there that I can fix. So carry through on that strap as well. See, maintaining form purity is probably what's tripping me up the most. My drawing is not the same as the Oya drawing that I had before. Alright. Okay. Alright, I can bring back the sketch. So then, let's see. Bodies and kimonos basically just become cylinders at this point. So I can just follow the guidelines that I had before. I suppose I'll keep the shapes proper though. I suppose I didn't have to draw most of this in as much detail as I did because it's going to be covered by the kimono. It's good to know how legs are positioned, I suppose. Let's see, and the kimono gets fairly thin at the base. Although, let's see. This is a fold in it here, so it is open to be spread a bit more to conform with where the legs are. It's not as if it's rigid. So I suppose I can add that to my drawing in that case. I can have a crease there. Yeah, that adds a bit of character to the clothes, I suppose. Alright, but as for, I suppose, the overall form, that's fairly close. Let's see. I suppose I can start adding details at this point. See, perhaps I only have the one sketch. I did fairly firmly put all of the lines in on this one. Maybe I'll just get very rough shapes for the, the flowers and the details, and then I can, on another layer, work on detailing that in. So we have one flower here. Let's see, and another flower off to the side, so it's facing, let's see. So I need to make sure it's flat on layer. Sort of like that. Right, and the ribbon here comes up like that, and also down like that. So that covers a fair amount. And in the, I believe it's supposed to resemble tentacles, the cloth behind her, as she is a foreigner class servant, so therefore is in connection with the eldritch and unknown. Okay. And I can also... I'm on the wrong layer again. That's fine. Who needs layers? Okay, so more detailing to the clothes. So it comes up around here. Let's just add some frills to show that that's where they are supposed to be. Cuts in a bit deeper so that the arm is slightly obscured. Sort of like this. are quite a few details around this part of the drawing that are kind of difficult to interpret. I think this is meant to be even more sleeve further back here. And that's connected there. It looks like that's the case anyways. So, and coming out from behind that, we have the base of the sleeve, which will come around and connect here. These ruffles make sense in some universe, I'm sure of it. But they certainly don't make sense to me, so. Might as well just finish blocking in some more of the details. Also, I have not actually stopped to consider how her hair interacts with the tentacle fabric on her back. I'm just going to assume that it is behind it at this point in time for drawing purposes. Alright. So now time to put giant flowers on her head. That wasn't as difficult as I thought. I'm just going to have to go back and put some detail into it so that they aren't just big old circles. Face of it is around here. Just cut that circle in a bit earlier in that case. Right, and then final one is on this side here. Like that. Okay. Let's see, that's most of the very important details. I'll just get some finishing lines in for the sash, which is around here, and then the parting line of the kimono. Continue on until it reaches the base from there. As for the sketch, that's fairly finished. Let's see. I suppose there's other smaller flower there. But as for rough shapes, that's fairly finished. So, something else that I was saying in... what was it? So I'm going to put this on pause for now. I'll save this. And I think I'll finish rendering it off stream. Just because it's a lot of fairly intricate details, and I have the rough work done. Let's see, into my art folder. Okay. What did I do? I didn't save it, that's for certain. The name of this file didn't change. Oh, I saved it as illustration on accident. That's fine. Yes, something else that I had been talking about, let's remove these, is my schedule. So let's see. Schedule 2.0 is the one that I'm currently going with. So, here we have the current proposed idea for my schedule moving forwards. So I have classes Monday through Thursday, and on Monday and Wednesday my classes end a fair bit earlier. So I have these ones scheduled in for my easier days, no classes on Tuesday and Thursday because those are late running days. And then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday I have off, so I have earlier streams on Friday and Saturday, and then Sunday I have off so that I can prepare for classes beginning for the start of the week. I think that's what I'm going to stick with. So I'm going to be pinning this tweet. I should actually probably have a title here. I'm going to try and keep this schedule consistent week by week. Yes, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. I'm going to keep this schedule consistent week by week. I may have a day specific for drawing or art or something like that, but I'm fairly flighty in my planning, so this may be all games one week, or maybe I do art 2 days in a row, or on Monday and Saturday. So the content of my streams probably won't remain consistent, but I would like to keep constant with the days that I am streaming. Actually get into a proper rhythm. Because apparently that's good for people who want to watch my content, because it allows them to know what times to plan around if they want to specifically be that consistent with how often they watch me. So that's my plan moving forwards. If anyone in here, because I think Naruto is the only one chatting, I don't know if Melody stuck around. And Aqua said that they were going to lie down, so I'm not going to ask you to type at all, but I don't have a Discord, what is it? I don't have my own channel. I do have a Twitter, though. It's exactly as you would expect. I believe I have links in my About section on Twitch itself. So, feel free to follow up on that. Yes, but as for today, I think that's all that I properly wanted to do, was get some sketching and get back into practicing artwork, because I also haven't drawn anything in the time that I've been away from streaming. And also go over my schedule with anyone that happened to be here. I didn't think I was going to run any changes, unless someone more regular had any specific problems if they weren't able to make it at any of the times, but as it stands, I think I'm going to pin a schedule tweet on my Twitter, and I could probably also, if I'm going to be keeping a consistent schedule, I know Twitch itself has a schedule feature, so I could also put a running schedule on that as well. But thanks for coming by. Streaming 4 days a week? Yes. I was considering doing 5 days, but I would prefer to have more half and half. And 4 days is a fair amount, I suppose. And I'd like to keep consistent. So, that's probably going to be it for me. Thanks for coming along. And I'm just going to sign out. I hope you had a wonderful day, and I hope your day continues to be wonderful. Thanks for redeeming some channel points there, Naruto. Alright. Good day.